Morning, guys. Today's gonna be a good one. Happy Saturday. Thank you for joining me on a day that you probably are just kicking back at home. I watched 3 live streams this morning and they were all at 8 a.m. So there was quite a bit of bouncing around and doing lots of fun stuff with that for me. So I know how you feel. I do all the same things you do. The guys that are in the online courses, I'm in online courses. I think all this stuff is awesome. So let me just say what's up to everybody. Tim Shields in the house. We got Hunter. We got Jake Garforce II. And I just wanted to say, as everybody else rolls in, that we're going to have some fun today. I'm going to shoot a YouTube video in the middle of this. So I'm going to make a video specifically about starting from scratch and making some really cool tails. So we got Randy's taillights here. Today we're actually going to be playing with them. And look at that simple animation. Super basic stuff. So that's what's coming up. We'll see. Can your boy get his intro? I don't know. We'll find out. So, you know, I'm working on things, trying to make it happen. Trying to make sure that as we go through these live streams, they have that feel like, I don't know. Maybe dude's not fumbling over himself the whole time. Like I can actually read chat now and talk to you and look at chat and talk to you. It's good. It's good. So I'm gonna need your help today, big time. All you guys. We got Jonpauls in the house too. And yeah, it was definitely, oh, he said he didn't get a notification. Tisk, YouTube. You're terrible. Yesterday we focused a lot on Jonpauls animations for the WRX, and so I didn't do this one. This one I do want to not only make the video for you guys specifically focusing on the S13 tails, but it's such a basic job. I think it's going to be a great starting point for a lot of people. So I want you guys all to be able to get going with it. And let's check them out. Ooh. So let me point something out real quick. You can see that they animate the parking light after they do the turn signal, right? And they come on from the outside in. And if you look real close, you can tell that right by the Z on that Ghozt lighting box, the first one that fires when it does the parking light is actually the second to last one. That's because if we count all these things up, how many do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You guys counting 12 or 11? I got to 11 and I was like, wait, I think there's 12. In any case, however many LEDs there are, that's how many that we want to have in the setup file. So we don't want to be doing all of the stuff with making everything fan out and then having the starting point all weird. So 36 LEDs in total. Every LED is part of a group of 3. All right. So when we dive in here and make the GLC file, which I'm gonna basically like hit pause on the live, not really, but like I'm gonna go into filming a YouTube video mode, and then DJ Boom in the house. What up? Boost Bus 1984. What up? So I won't be doing that. I'll be just focusing on the video, and then I'm gonna film like I don't know, a little 2-minute intro or something like that, and then we're gonna dive back into the live, and it's gonna be basically just a starting from scratch training for somebody who's never done any of this stuff. And instead of us modifying GLC files and GLPs and all the stuff like we have been doing, we're gonna start from scratch on these lights. They're so basic. It's gonna be such a good starting point, and I think it's gonna be fun for people that are wanting to get involved, so that they don't feel like, oh, I didn't learn all of this stuff yet, so maybe this isn't for me. I think it's for everybody. I think it's been a lot of fun so far, and it's just so basic. Tim, I'm sure I did say that they were 11 channels, so it sounds like Tim now has a nice 11 channel file, and that's not a bad thing. It's really not, because it just means that DIY people, what up? It just means that now, because of my mistake, Tim's already got some cool stuff going on that probably look awesome, and we'll show what an 11 channel build looks like on these lights. And then that will now live as an 11 channel build. So Tim's probably like, bro, I spent hours. I'm stupid. I'm sorry, Tim. I literally thought that they were 11 until just now. So we want to have a library, because imagine that you've got all the crazy stuff going on. He says, I have it as well, sent it this morning. Okay, so probably in another video, we'll dive into a lot of the other stuff. And for this one, it's just gonna be kind of that bare bones basic of, let's start from absolute ground zero. Let's code out the whole thing based on there being 12 channels, and then what that looks like when we modify everything up, post it, and start modifying the Ghost and all that. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. So before then, I can definitely say we should hop over really quick to my screen, and we've got some guys that, and Tim, big thanks for the testimonial, dude. That was dope. Super, super good. I'm looking forward to having that up today. We've got people in squad wanting in. They're banging on the doors. Look, we got 10 automatic member approvals. That means that people know one of you guys, and then they requested to get in, and then they automatically got in. So welcome to Mike Johnston. Welcome John Casper Reed. We got David Adams. Matter of fact, I was gonna say this always, man, always. When I see the red button, I gotta know, push the red button. We can't have red buttons on the on the stream deck. My bad. But that made me happy because I saw David Adams. Now, David Adams is actually a customer from Hawaii. He's the owner of those GTR taillights that we've been working on together. So he just joined the group, and I wanted to welcome him in. I'll do a cool little video post of your guys' work on his taillights. And so hopefully just so that he realizes that he can constantly take the work that we've all put together and modify his GTR. It'll be dope. So welcome David Adams. Got a new sub. I don't know who it is. Who is it? It's Wahyu. Okay. Instead of Yowan. I'm down. Sorry about what I said there. Ed C in the house. Now, Ed's part of another couple groups. I think he's part of the LED Junkies or something like that. We got Nicholas joined up. Sorry, I'm not showing you. And we've got Julian. Yeah, so we've got a bunch of these guys that are, looks like they were requested and then automatically approved. So that's cool. But now we've got a bunch of new members that are requesting to get in. So let's give them access. We should just do this on the live. Just give people access. We got Clyde. What up, Clyde? Happy to have you. George, happy to have you. Dave Carey, what's up? Justin Allen. We got Richard Henry. We got Jeremy Burns. It'll be so fun when I'm like, decline. That'll be awesome. We got Kim. We got Matthew. Very cool. All right, so we got a bunch of new members in squad. Let's take a look at our total right now. The group is flexing a mighty, I think 81 members. Let's see. 80. Somebody probably left right now. They're like, screw this group, I'm out. Okay. So we're gonna dive back in. I'm gonna take a big fat slurp of coffee. It's gonna be loud and gross, but you won't hear it. It was so good. Okay. We've got our dude here. This is gonna let me know when we're at our halfway point. I'm gonna flip it upside down and we're gonna watch these sands go down, slip away. The moments that we spend together will be fleeting as the FlyRyde green sands turn into, I don't know, I'm not really gonna turn into anything, but we'll do that. That'll be fun. Okay, so JDM LED Solutions in here with his orange belt. My man, what's up? I need to get you on an interview. We're gonna be doing that soon. That's like a big part of what I want the stream to have in it, is all of the people that are kind of taking part in all this stuff. The guys that are putting in all the hours to build 11 channel super dope animations, only to find out that they were supposed to be 12 channels, but I'm a schmuck and I messed it all up. That's what needs to happen. We need to get them on here. We can watch me get chewed out live. It'll be a good time. Anyway, little backstory here on these lights. I met lots of YouTubers over the course of the past few years. And in most cases, doing work for, I don't know, to get on their channels and stuff, it's not a great thing. Not a good thing to do. I definitely don't suggest you put yourself out thinking that if you just work with this one guy, it's going to make or break your lighting business. You know who makes or breaks your lighting business? It's you marketing yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. So just on the business side of the advice that I give, don't wait for some big famous man to make it happen for you. Make it happen for yourself. Be the guy that takes your own thing to the level that you want it to be at. I remember when I had a conversation with somebody and I was like, man, you really took advantage of me. You took advantage of the whole situation. And I was really thinking that things were going to go differently, and they didn't. You came up, and as a result, it hurt me bad. And he was like, I know I took advantage of the situation, and you let me. He looked me in the face and said that. And I was like, I think I'm going to have to take this little conversation, and I'm going to have to tell a lot of people about it. Not the specifics, not who it was, not like wow for me, but he was right. He's a dick, but he's also right that if you let somebody take all your time and your money to build super dope lights, and you're like, oh, as soon as I'm done with this, as soon as I post this, all of Randy's people, they will follow me. Now, first off, Randy's a super dope dude, but all Randy's guys are not trying to come in and build lights. They're just not. It's not going to happen. If I'm staking everything on Randy making my dreams come true, then my expectations are out of whack. So I say this because you're going to have opportunities to work on super dope lights and super famous YouTube people, because super famous YouTube guys generally like lights. That's just been my experience, right? So be careful, because your expectations are probably going to be the biggest thing that are out of whack. And what they should be is, hey, how can I take what I've done for said dude and post and go crazy and go hard? Because the guy's going to respect you way more if you're going hard and using him in your promotion of yourself than if you're kicking back and like, oh, this guy's got 1 million and blah, blah, blah subscribers. That's going to make it happen for me. Nope, it's not. It's going to be one brick on top of all the others. Speaking of bricks on top of others, that's what we're going to be doing, starting from scratch on these files here. So let me show you the show modes that we got. Hello is Russian. What up, Zerg? I dig your name. It is a fantastic name. I'm into it. All right. And let me hop over so I can see what you can see. So that is one show mode. And then show mode 2. Watch. So what's happening is when it fills all the way up, there's a bunch of stuff going on in the background in the code that we can't see, because it's for more channels than this thing has. So see how it wasn't restacking back up? Look at that. It's gonna stack. Look, it's gonna keep stacking. It's still stacking, and then it unstacks. Keeps unstacking. It's unstacking past the amount of stacks it has. Does that make sense? I want you guys all to understand what's happening in the background. You can see the code even when you're not looking at the code. So instead of us working on the code that's obviously not for those lights, and instead of us building on to Tim's lights, Tim, don't tell your daughter she messed up. Tim's daughter has been sitting there. She's 14. She's grinding. She's making all these files and all that stuff. So we're going to have to make a file. We're going to name it after her. And on one of the live streams, we're going to show what it looks like when that file is doing its cool thing through those 11 channels. Because the girl made an 11 channel animation. We need to have that in the library as an animation made available for everybody. And Jake is super confused, maybe because he's super tired still. So we're just gonna dive in and make a file available to everybody that's a 11 channel, because that's what she made. And then this one that we're gonna work on today is gonna be a 12 channel, and then we're gonna have 13 and 14, and we want to have all the lights all the way. She made one file, just the GTR lights. Well, then she's fine if that's a 28 channel one. So yeah, as many files as you guys will make, you can share them with each other in the Facebook group, as well as the good ones, the ones that we take all the different little chunks of that we want to make available, whether they're a configuration file where it just looks nice. Tim made the 11 channel, dope. or if it is the GLS file, which is just the sequence file of one part. So one show mode, one turn signal, one something, parking light, intro. Those will all live on Sequential Squad, and you can have access to them as a community holding tank of all the awesomeness that we create together. All right, so that's my commitment to you, to keep all that stuff on there. Sinister is a big lurker. He's Bilbo Lurkins. And speaking of Sinister, because he's my mans, I have weaseled my way in, and I say weasel lightly, because of Jay saying that there was quad hands right next to him. I actually got a response back from the person that's the gatekeeper to the owner, Mark, of Quad Hands. I sent an email to Mark. I was very upfront and very myself in the email, which means that if he doesn't like what he read, then he's not going to be a good guy for me to work with anyway. But if he does like it, he's already going to know who I am, because that's what I put it in that email, is my style, my talk, my me being me, bros, dudes, all of that stuff, right? I'm always me. You meet me on the street, you see me on a live stream, you see me on a video, same guy all the time. I want people that I move forward with to know that, because as dude told me a while back that I let him take advantage of me, he didn't get to see me. He got to see the watered down, like walking on eggshells version, because I didn't want to upset anybody kind of stuff. So I would never want that with a new business person that I'm dealing with, because I want everybody to be on the same page from the get. So if things go forward with that, I am going to try to get a lunch with Jay at Sinister and my dude Mark at Quad Hands. Be good. Be good. Super dope guy. Tim says that's why you're awesome. It's debatable. That's also why others would say that that's why you're a complete. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. Okay, let's do some coding. I'm gonna start off by prepping everything, getting all the programs open, and then from there I am going to do that intro for the YouTube video. And we're going to come out of this with a YouTube intro, the body of the video, and then we're going to have some dope files at the end, and I'm going to have almost everything ready for a new regular watchable video that's not live. It's dope. Tim says, I don't care what other people say. I don't care if they say that you're a stupid man. Chris is stupid. Nice. Nah, I like this being right here in front of me. Makes me feel confident. Okay, let's get out of the infinity window here. Oh, we're gonna do infinity lights too. We're gonna practice live, because my man's giving themselves way too much credit for infinity mirror lights. Like, look what I invented. Yeah, but you didn't though, did you? Did you? All right, let's open up our sequence designer. Word, there's one. And what's up with the Russians in the house? I'm into it. I'm like, welcome ye Russians. Let's be Russian together, you and I. It will be good. I always try to get Russians to like help me dive into my family history, and no one ever cares. They just don't care. Zurg says, do you know Russian? Ultra Tank Bentley? I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody in Russia. I do understand that my last name, oh, ready? It's a completely stupid offshoot. So people are like, Darafeev. Wow, that's an interesting name. Where does that come from? And I'm like, it's just like Americanized. It's like people got here on a boat, you know, long freaking time ago, and they were like, hey, what's your last name? And they're like, Dorofeev. They're like, what? Dorofeev. And then you go, okay, well, how can we say it? And it turned into Darafeev. And then later on it became Darafeev. So my last name is Darafeev. Dara? Like, if you were to dare a chick to do something scandalous, you would dare a chick. But if you were to dare a Feev to do something, then you'd have Darafeev. Better that than Dorofeev. So If you look it up in Russian, it's like Dorofeyev. Kind of not a very American thing. It's all about America. All right. Now that we've got a history in my my backstory, it is a freaking old name though, like hundreds of years old. There's like bishops and I don't know, military dudes from the 1500s. Let's actually kill one of these ghost files here. Oh, and Donald, thank you, man. Hey, by the way, I've had some very cool conversations happening in Discord. Some very down to earth and personable, like real life stuff, talking about struggles and family and all that. And I appreciate that. I love people kind of bearing it all and connecting with each other, and people finding that they're neighbors, all because of this little crazy community of people that want to build lights and do stuff. Retired guys, young guys, you know, big, skinny, little, funny, dry, all of that. We're all mixed in together like one happy, weird, disconnected family. Okay, so, but I always want to say, when I see Donald Wheeler, I always see Donald like it's missing a D, like Donald Duck. So if I'm saying Donald wrong, I want to be corrected. Like DIY people, maybe I'm saying your name wrong. Maybe it's D people. But probably not. It's probably DIY. I don't know. Maybe I've been saying sinister the wrong time, and it's actually not that negative connotation of sinister. It's sinister. But I'm kind of guessing it's sinister. Maybe it's not Zerg. Maybe it's Zurg. I just want you to tell me. Just correct me, please. Sometimes I'm a massive and I just want people to be like, push back, you know what I mean? Like, make me better. Make me better. Alright, let's start blank slate. We're gonna say, I don't even know if I can open a new project. Open project. Is there no new project? Is that not a thing? My God, man. So, let's do this then. We're gonna open a project from the get, and that means I have to come in here to downloads. Such a I need to make a shortcut of this. I'm so dumb. Ready? Make a shortcut. Create shortcut. And put that shortcut right here. Wait, there we go. Won't let me do it. Damn, it's not working. Get the shortcut. We're gonna go into sequences, projects. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna start off the whole thing here with a standard 28 channel taillight. Now we're gonna save this. Save project. And if you remember, I've told you in the past, don't ever save a project. Look how long that is. That's what she said. This is way too long on here. And so we're gonna change everything up. So don't ever rename a file, like save it until you've renamed it right here. So standard tail. So we're gonna call this, here, how about this? I'll keep standard tail, and then I'll say 12 channel. Wow. Got him, Jimmy. And then we're gonna save it, and it's gonna save something in here in my sequence designer, which is fine, but way more importantly than that, I don't want to get back in this folder. I'm gonna be back in the live stream with my boys. Those files, live stream. And here we are, back in the lives. Standard 12th channel. Now we're gonna make all of our changes. So if you look in here, what the most important thing for me to do is look at what's existing, and then look at my brake, look at my show mode, look at all these things, and then we're just gonna start from scratch. So we're gonna wipe this out. But what I understand is that a lot of people that are starting to do this, they're not gonna know what the heck to do. So that's why I'm gonna make this YouTube video. I'm gonna show them. Here's what you can do from scratch. Start off. Download the program, get in there, start working on it. If you don't know why I'm doing all of this, it's because of this. It's because I've got this cool little program, Sequential Squad. If you're not in there, you should be. If you're on this stream, but you haven't spent the time to get inside a squad, you're messing up. You're just blowing it. There's all sorts of cool stuff. So go do that. Come back here. And for everybody else, I know you've already done that. I know you just know that I'm just flexing on the fact that I have that cool little background animation. So we're going to dive in and make this YouTube video, because we're about 30 minutes in. So I do want that to happen. I'm going to film that before we get to the next part. So kill the background music, kill all the stuff. We're going to start from scratch. It will be good. Are we ready? I'm going to go quiet right now. And I'm going to hope that I don't mess up my screens, because I'm not recording on anything else other than this. So let me hit record here on my thing. Now it's recording. Let's make sure I'm in decent focus, because it's a little blurry because I like having that microphone in there. Now I'm sharper. Word. Okie dokie. Let's go. Start off. Ooh, I feel the pressure. I really do. Okay. Got it. All right. Here we go. This is the new YouTube video. Ready? Let's make it happen. Hey, what's up? If you want to get into programming sequential LEDs, you want to learn all about it, you don't know how to do any of it, you don't even know what your first step should be, the first step is going to come up here in this video. It's all coming up. Okay, there's an intro. So the first step that we want to do is we want to understand, like, what is sequential LED. It's when you take something like this little remote control. I'm going to push a button and cool things happen here. I'm going to push it a couple times so you can see some different things that are happening on these taillights. Now these are being built for a really cool YouTuber named Randy, and we're going to get these on his Nissan S13. So I'm pretty stoked about it. So we've got multiple angles. We're going to record all of this stuff live. We're actually live streaming right now as we make this video. But the most important thing is that we're going to start from the sequence designer, the actual animation steps that we're going to take. I'm going to share with you how to do that, how to start from absolute ground zero, and then we're going to make cool show modes and stuff like that for Randy's taillights. So I'm excited about it. I hope you join me. I hope you take some action here, and I also hope that you get involved with the squad. That's Sequential Squad is something that I put together just for you. So it's a group of online buddies that sit and make these animation codes together. We share them, we talk about them live. And again, right now we're live streaming, but I'm making this video for you specifically so that you can get involved in this awesome little group of people. For everybody that is watching live, you're awesome. Thanks for watching me in real time making a YouTube video. Let's dive in now and learn some sequential code. Okay, so that's it for now. Now we actually just get to do things. It'll be fun because I'm just going to chop it up. That I at least wanted to have done before we got going on everything else, so that I could at least have something to stick at the beginning of the video. And one-shotting things feels way better than spending a bunch of time. And plus, if people are watching, I better make it happen. One take warrior, says Tim. It's super embarrassing, but like I want to tell you, I like the uncomfortableness. I like it. It's good. It brings different stuff out of you, right? Because if you get ready to go on a stage or to do something, like, even if it's like, this is going to be weird, but have you ever had to say anything at a funeral or a wedding? Best man speech? I don't know. I always thrive in those situations because there's something weird inside of me that comes out when there's the pressure of doing things. So I like the live streams. They're fun. I could screw up and it numbs the fear that's in there that makes you hold back. And it brings out the best in what I feel I can give to other people. And so I want you guys to make videos specifically because that weirdness, that like sitting there and being like feeling dumb before you hit record and start watching a video, it's a good thing. It's really a good thing, because you're gonna have other situations in life that make you do that. Tim says, yep, the ability to push through the discomfort makes you grow. True story, bro. I was so uncomfortable years ago that I was worried about how me making videos would impact the people around me. And I can tell you right now, I don't give a about the people around me being uncomfortable about me making video, because it's helping you guys, it's helping my family, it's helping other people that I'll never meet, people in Russia. Clearly they're getting helped out by this stuff, or they're being moderately entertained, I don't know, or maybe they're just bored sitting on their couch and this popped up on their notifications. In any case, I'll take the wins where I can get them. If people are watching this, then it's because I'm doing it. They wouldn't be watching it if I was too uncomfortable to do it. And so nobody is watching your content if you're too uncomfortable to do it. So just make it happen. I don't know. I think if it takes watching a bunch of me screw up live to give you any sort of a nudge, then so be it. That works for me just fine. So we're gonna dive back in. I'm gonna start talking in recording voice, but I'm keeping it real too. I am being live as I make this video, and I want the whole thing, start to finish, to all be done here live. And the only thing that I'm gonna add in on top of all of this is going to be some B-roll. And I'll talk to you guys more about B-roll and all that stuff too, but I will say the biggest mistake, the number one mistake I see people making when they're putting out custom lighting videos, specifically custom lighting videos for YouTube, is the whole thing is B-roll. I'm like, let's talk about A-roll and B-roll real quick. I'm not a film guy, so I don't really care about how on point I am with this description, but the main subject that you're watching, like me talking about what I'm gonna do, and then like describing what's gonna happen and all that, that is your A-roll. That's like your main storyline, right? Everything that goes on top of that, that boosts that, like if I'm describing something that I'm gonna do, and then it, like while my voice is continuing on, then it cuts to like a scene of the thing that I'm describing as I'm describing it in real time, and then it shows that, and then it cuts back to me describing it. That is going to be your A-roll and your B-roll. So don't make the mistake of all the YouTube videos that are out there usually about custom lights and make the whole thing B-roll. You know what that looks like? That looks like some really cool 350Z lights, and the whole time you've got some random music in the background that obviously the creator of those lights thinks is cool, and there's no information. At best, there's some text that's on screen. I know, I used to do that too. But like, be a dude that made those lights. Guess who no one's thinking about is the guy that built those 350Z lights while they're watching those 350Zs with just music in the background. So be the guy that's like, yo, what's up? Like, you want to have there to be a hook, like something that you show the lights up front. Maybe that's where the cool music is. But like 8 seconds after that initial hook, then be like, what's up? Today we're going to talk about those 350Z lights that you just saw, how I built them, some of the stuff I had problems with building them, some things to watch out for if you're going to do it too. That's all coming up. Boom, there's your hook. Showed the thing. You got on the video yourself, and then now you can dive into it. And then the most important thing you can do after that is just dive into it. Don't talk about you. I ramble all the time, so I make these mistakes constantly. So Chris, this is a video for you if you're watching this later. Don't spend so much time talking. Get into it. Like, within 20 seconds from the guy clicks on the video, he saw the cool thing, he knows what it's going to be about, he saw you, he knows you're going to be in the video, and now you're in the video talking about it. And as you continue to talk about it, you cut to those little B-roll sections that keep them interested, because if you're like me, you could just talk forever and just go and go and go and go, and people don't want to watch me talk forever. They want to see things, which is why I have to hide behind the tech, because I'm just not good enough. Just kidding. So that's just some tips if you're gonna make some video. All right, I'm going to start from scratch now and build some things. Any questions before I do that? Because I honestly do want to make sure that this is not just me talking at you the whole time and filming a YouTube video the whole time, even though I'm not gonna be doing like interaction during the recording part. But I just want to give you guys some smacks on the butt, some little, go get it, buddy. Go get them. You got this. Jake says, that's what I need for my nudge. Okay, well with that, if there's no questions, I'm gonna dive back into the content, making it for this video, and it will be good. It will be good. Ready? Let's go. Okay, yeah. All right, we're gonna dive into the code now. So I'm gonna share my screen with you, and as we go through all of this stuff, you're gonna see what we have if we open a brand new file here. So what I've done is I've actually gone through what's already packaged in the Ghozt Lighting Sequence Designer. There's all sorts of information about where to download all of that. I'm gonna put it in the description below, but now we're gonna be diving into what it looks like once you've opened the standard 28 channel sequence file for all of this. So we've got a few different things that we have file types inside the system. We've got a GLP file, which is just your project. It's your Ghozt Lighting project file. So I'll talk about GLPs, and then we've also got some other things in here like the configuration files, which we can save the look of how these LEDs are going to be. We can move them around, we can do all sorts of weird stuff using our GLC file, the configuration file, and that's what's going to give us the shape. So there's a lot of really cool shapes. There's a lot of really cool shapes as we work through these files here that we're gonna know that like, hey, it's in the lightning bolt, or it's in this curved or little S pattern or whatever that is. So we can actually make the Ghozt Sequence Designer show us that, so that we actually really get the feel for what we're making as we're making it and how it's gonna look once it's on the lights. So right now, we've got this weird L-shaped thing going on, and we don't need that because that's a 28 channel file, and the ones that we're gonna design today are 12 channel. That's these guys right here, zipping back and forth. And so if I turn off that show mode and I turn on our parking lights, now we can see that we've got those 12 channels that are lit up. We're gonna start programming them now. So first thing that I did was I came in here in my 28 channel standard taillight file, and I changed it to standard tail 12 channel. I just renamed it, and then I went up and I saved it, and I put it in a place where I have access to it. You can just save it right in the area where it's at on your original file. Didn't change screen. Reverse. Okay, so the first thing that we did was we came in here and we changed the name from standard tail 28 channel to standard tail 12 channel. And then once we have changed the name there, we can save it, and now it's gonna take whatever we renamed it and it's gonna load that in the file name here. And that, again, this is a GLP, this is a project file. So I'm gonna save it here on my live stream folder, where just a lot of you guys have sent me files and I wanna show that live. But if you don't change the save to folder, then it's just gonna save it along with all the pre-packaged animation files, project files, all that stuff that are inside of the Ghozt Lighting Sequence Designer. So I'm all good there. Now I wanna look in, we're gonna start from the very, very beginning here. And we're gonna see that we have this turn signal animation that goes all the way down to the end, and it's using 28 channels. So we've got all of these little channels here, 1 through 28, and we're gonna start getting rid of the ones that we know we don't need because we only have 12 channels to work with. So to start off, before anything else, we're gonna make some changes to the code. We're just gonna delete all those channels, 13 through 28, get them gone, and we're gonna start changing the cool stuff and looking at what it's gonna appear as in the Sequence Designer. But we have the cool little side bonus of we've got Randy's taillights here. So we're gonna load the files to that as we move forward through this whole little free beginner training guide. And I think it's gonna turn into some really cool stuff. And hopefully at the end of the day, Randy's really gonna like it. So let's dive back in. All right, so what we wanna do up here is this is all of our LEDs that we've loaded in the system. And we've got 28 channels, so we're gonna go from 13 to 28. We're gonna highlight those and we're gonna delete them. All right, that leaves us with only 12 channels. So if we look back through here, now as we pan through some of these modes, we see it filling all the way up. It gets to 12, and now everything after this is going to relate only to the LEDs that we just got rid of. All right, so we don't need any of those particular parts of the turn signal. So I'm just gonna delete them because I don't want them. I only want stuff that is from where we're at right now, which looks like we're on step number 13. So at step 14, I'm going to take all of this stuff. I'm going to hold the shift button, click down here on 54, and I'm going to say delete step. So what we have now for our turn signal is this. It's going to fill up from the beginning, and then it's going to stop right there. And if we want, I can click the enter button, and that's just going to copy the step, the last one. So 13 has now become 14 because I clicked enter. I'm going to click this box a couple times, and now it's bright. So now if we look, it actually does have the correct finished product here. And if we stop it right there, then that means only for one tiny fraction of a second, for 45 milliseconds here, that we're going to have all of the LEDs lit up. That might not be a good look. That might not be what we want. But for now, we're going to leave it alone. We're going to move on to the brake light section. Nice thing here is it just shows all of the LEDs lit up. And even though it's showing more than the 12 channels that we have, we're still going to be able to use it. The reason for that is that as we're making all these files, there's no need to get rid of things that are happening in the background if they don't change the look and feel of what we see loaded on these actual taillights. So if all the LEDs come on or all of them go off, it doesn't matter if it's still showing that there's those other initial channels that we've deleted already. So the 12 channels that we want, they're going to be doing their thing, and that means that the brake light section we can just leave completely alone. And as we make any changes to it, as long as we don't want specific parts of the LEDs to light up in that, just all of them on, all of them dim, all of them off, then we can just leave it just like that. Much faster to change some things. I'll show you if we did want to add something to that. We can just hit enter, and look at when we hit enter, it only took the active amount of LEDs that are on there. So any of these things that we work with moving forward, we can make the changes to it specifically to represent only the 12 that we care about, but I don't think that's important. So all of these will show up. Now, if we do decide that, hey, what if we want them to only come on dim for a second? We can right click, we can say all dim. Check that out. It completely changed the whole animation file. So I'm learning live with you. That's the fun thing about live streaming, is I'm showing how to do things that I know how to do, and as I'm picking up new things, I'm sharing that with my live guys that are here, which is awesome. And I'm also able to package it into videos to share with you, and even put it on some of the paid training stuff too that I have available on FlyRyde.com. So it's not about the paid training, it's about the free stuff right now. Let's get back to learning and teaching together. So we're going to go over to now show mode 1. Now you have two different show modes available to work with. If you choose, you can have one of them be a start sequence. So as you see, this one right here says start, and if I look up here under the main title, the setup name here, we see that we have 4 options. We have startup animation, second turn signal, second show mode, and reverse light. Now I know that I'm going to be running 2 sequencers, so I don't need to share any of the functions. So I don't need a second turn signal because there's 1 turn signal, that's fine. 1 turn signal per tail light, good to go. If you are going to be doing 2 different lights with 1 sequencer, that's where you would select some of these things on there, right? So the other weird little thing is, let's say that you've got some LEDs that are white and you want those to turn on, but you only want the white ones to turn on at a certain time to work as like a reverse light, then you would choose this little option here, which is reverse light, so that you know that when the little Ghozt module gets power to that specific wire that triggers whatever is going to happen right now, that it'll turn on reverse lights, as opposed to turning on a turn signal, or in this case, giving access to all of the LEDs that we animate as a second show mode. I'm going to say second show mode because we do have a 4-channel remote that we can program 2 of the buttons to just send power to these 2 different show modes here. So that's going to give us the best. That was confusing as balls, just so you know. I'm making this video and I heard myself say all that, and I'm just like, geez, I know that I'm right here, but it does sound complicated. Just dive in, play around with it, you'll get it. All right, so now we've got this thing here, and I'm gonna try something. It shows 28 channels going on. I don't think this is gonna adjust it, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to say all bright. Ooh, check it out. Just by making that universal change, it completely cut down all of those things that now only represent the LEDs that were in there. Before it kind of looked like a big pyramid, and now it doesn't, because we're only working with 12 channels. So what it did do is it started in the middle and it was fanning out to the sides and then back in to represent your parking lights turning on. So a cool thing that I've seen on a lot of these program files are you'll take the you'll take the LEDs that are for the running light, and you initially, as soon as they get power for the first time, they'll come on fully bright, fan all the way out to the ends, and then they'll come back in dim, and when they stop in the center, they all stay on dim. It's just a cool little opening sequence that you can do. You can make it super involved, you can make it basic, you could literally just make it one line of code where you say all dim, and as soon as that wire gets power, it just does the thing. I kind of feel like that's a waste. I want to make it fan out, do some cool little wave looking thing, and whether it starts at the beginning, goes to the end, and then comes back, starts in the center, fans to the sides, comes back. You've got all these different little creative freedoms that you can use. And so this is showing how all of these things look once we cut down the LEDs from 28 down to 12. So you could see, this is not a good animation to do. So I'm gonna start all the way right here, and I'm just gonna say delete them. Now's where we're gonna really start playing with some cool different steps. So I'm gonna throw a couple blank steps in there. Actually, I don't have no idea why those steps were blank. Let's just dive in. I'm gonna hit enter, and we're gonna say our very middle ones, which are gonna be, let's see, steps 6 and 7. That means that we've got 2 LEDs in the very center of all 12. They're gonna be lit up, and then we've got 5 blank channels here, 5 blank channels there, and it's gonna allow us to start fanning everything out from the very beginning. So I'm gonna hit enter again. It's gonna copy those steps, and then we're gonna click 8 and 5 again, click 4 and 9. We're just gonna go all the way through. Now, right now I just skipped a step. I added 10, but I didn't add 3. Oops. I'm gonna delete that step. These are mistakes that you very well might make if you're human like me. Hit enter, go 2 and 11, enter one last time. We've got 1 and 12, and so now we've built an animation that starts in the center and it fans out and it gets fully bright. Okay, so now I want to take step 8 here by hitting enter again. Now we're going to start making them dim. So when you click the second time after that check is already there, now it's going to turn it to dim. This is a super basic thing that we can do. I'm just hitting enter and then clicking on those channels. There's also some really cool, more advanced like keystrokes that you can do. We're not going to get into that. We're just pushing buttons, and clicking. And now check it out. Let's look at our file. It's fanning out, coming back in, boom, and it's just going to stay there, and that's it. Now if we want, one thing that we can do that's very simple is we can highlight everything, and then we can look at our speed setting. So these are all in milliseconds, so the more milliseconds, the slower it is. If we want to go down to like 15, this is going to be pretty quick. And so now we've got our custom parking light intro made for the exact amount of channels that we have. This is a good thing. We're all good. If we look at our turn signal, that's just going to fill up, and it's, as soon as it goes from step 14 here, it's going to jump back to step 1 and then start over. All right, so it's going to be kind of, I don't know, it's not going to look super refined. It's not going to look super fluid. I tend to like to do things where it has a really cool, very, I don't know, like a well thought out, not just like a big dumb chunk of code that you just threw at it and it's like zip, zip, zip. But like, how do we maybe fill it up, and then maybe as it gets about 75% full, now the beginning starts trailing behind it, and then that goes away, and then it starts over. That's a little bit better than just like zip, start over, zip. Then we kind of get this cool motion, right? I don't know what this all is, but I hope you get it. We're gonna do that next, but I do want to show you what it looks like on the taillights here, because they're sitting and they're waiting for coolness. So let's make the coolness. All right. So let's go into show mode now. And it is interesting to be able to come through and look at the show for lights that have more channels. So look at this. we just hit step 17 before a single LED showed up here. Now is when I'm going to talk about a little tiny bit of these keystroke things. All right, so I'm going to just highlight everything and ditch it because we don't need a 28 channel file that we start going through and changing. I mean, look how many lines of code there are. We got 1,047 lines of code. You can really geek out on this stuff. Beep. So it just erased all of those lines of code, and now we've got a completely fresh show mode to start with. So just like we did before, we made a, with our parking setup, we can actually use some of this pre-existing stuff that's in here. I'm gonna show you a couple quick tricks to recycle what you've already made for different steps. All right, so I'm gonna highlight, actually I don't even need to highlight, I'm gonna export this section. Now's where we're gonna hop into the multiple different styles, the multiple different file types that we can get out of the Ghozt Lighting sequencer. So we're gonna talk about the 3 types. We've got our project file. That's the whole thing that we're working on, right? Then we've got our visual representation of all these little steps that we're doing. That's our GLC file, our configuration file, all right? So we haven't done any of the configuration file stuff. And to be honest with you, it's just a straight line. So we really don't have to do anything. It's just gonna look pretty much exactly like it looks on here now. We can go back later and add a little dot on the top row and a dot on the bottom so that we have 3 dots for each channel, because that would perfectly represent these taillights, right? But we don't need to do that right now to get the idea. We'll actually see what it's gonna look like with just the individual little lines of code. And the last one that we have is the GLS, the sequence file. That's what I just made right now in the parking light section. So we are gonna take that and we're gonna export that little sequence and we're gonna make it its own little file that can exist inside of our folders that we can reuse anywhere that we want. Specifically in this case, I'm going to import it into our show mode after I've saved it, and then we can start doing things like we can put it on there, and then we can copy it and flip it upside down, and now we've got twice the amount of codes, and we're doing this in a matter of clicks, like seconds worth of time. So you can really take different steps, different chunks of what you've made, and then you can export it out as a GLS, as a sequence file, and then use that to start manipulating and start changing everything up. So I think it's gonna be cool. Ready? Let's go. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna say sequence options, we're gonna say export sequence, and I'm going to jump right in here to our main live stream folder. Yeah, I'll save it right here in the live streams. Okay, so I'm gonna call this, I want it to be standard tail 12 channel. And now it says park sequence. It already knows where I'm at with all of this stuff. So I'm gonna say fan out. That's what I'm gonna name it. Instead of park sequence, I just want this to be a GLS that is, like, I can kind of understand what it is before I even use it. So whatever, fan out. Save it. And then now that it's saved, I can hop back in here to show mode where I have nothing cool happening. And I can say import and append after current. Now, if I already had some existing code on here and I wanted it to go before it, then I would say import and insert before current. Then that would just basically bump everything else that's already there down and stick it right before it. In this case, there's nothing there. So I'm gonna say the fan out thing, and look, there's my code that was in park. Now it's in show. Now we can start playing with it big time. So I've got this here. Actually, I'm gonna take the blank step 2. I'm gonna right click and I'm going to say copy steps, and then I can come down here and I can paste steps. So I right clicked and I can say paste before or paste after. Obviously pasting before would be dumb because then that would put it before they're all lit up. So I'm going to say paste after and check it out. Here we go. We've got the exact same thing twice. Now I'm going to copy those. I'm going to highlight all those things at the bottom, and I'm going to say reverse sequence. Now I hope it only reverses the sequence that are highlighted, but it didn't though. Instead, it flipped the whole thing. All right, so if I right click and I say reverse sequence again, it's showing us the copy of that. Now what I can do is I can hop over here into parking light and I can say reverse the sequence here. And then let's see if we can just copy and paste these steps on there. Copy steps, And I'm gonna come over here now, delete it, and I'm gonna say right click, paste after, and nothing happened. Damn it. Oh, let's take a break so that I can get my head right. Oh, any advice as I'm live streaming these steps to do? Because we're at 25 minutes in. Oh boy, that's crazy. I wish this worked on Max 2, Hunter. I just need a break because it numbs my brain. I've talked about all this stuff so often. So my thought is that what I need to do now is I need to talk about importing it in and then flipping it upside down and then saving that little chunk. It just seems cumbersome to have to work with all these different steps. I know I can do things where I don't know, I can like use show mode 1 and show mode 2 to kind of build things out and start making changes. I'm gonna try to do that right now really quick while we're all hanging out. Filming YouTube videos is tough. Because you know what sucks? The hardest part is I'm gonna have to watch all this stuff later. It's freaking can get a little bit boring. You can reverse it in the show mode, then copy, then unreverse, then paste. Let's see. I'm going to delete all that. Then I'm gonna paste it. Paste after. Okay. Or it won't do anything. That'll be sweet. All right, let's try this again. Come down here. I'm gonna say copy steps. And then I'm gonna say paste after. Yeah, it's super weird sometimes. It just will not let you do it. So instead, let's say import that sequence. We're just trying this, and then if this works, then I can do it on the thing. I'll feel better about myself. Yeah, for some reason, it's not even letting me import and append that GLS. Look at that. Work, fool. What the problem is? Paste after? It does not want me to do any of that. So let's try this. I'm going to reverse these steps here, and then I'll save that as a GLS. Export sequence. Call that fan out rev. Oops. Fan out rev. Okay. I'm going to reverse it again. Then I'm going to come down here. Let's say import and append after current fan out rev. Did we did it? We did it. Dun da da. Man. It's good to know these things. But you know. It'd been nicer to know that ahead of time. You can reverse it in the show mode, then copy, then unreverse. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like it doesn't. If there was a reverse selected, we'd be pumped. So that's something to ask Mr. Kyle about. See right here? Reverse sequence. So that's the whole sequence. That's a bit much. All right, so I'm gonna hop back into it before I run out of steam here. Delete these steps. Okay. So I just had a little stumble while I was trying to make this, and I realized there are a couple things that are kind of like, they're hard to understand as you're working through. Sometimes things just don't work and you don't know why. And the case of what I was trying to do right now was take the existing code that I have, copy it, paste it, and then flip only a chunk of it. The thing is, it doesn't really want me to do that. So I'm gonna show you how I made a workaround for that right now. I'm gonna hop back in. I'm gonna take this little chunk of code that I've made. This is specifically for my parking lights. I copied it over to a section right here, right? So we started off in the center, and then I'm flipping it, or I'm fanning out to the sides and coming back in. Now I wanna be able to go from this step and then do the reverse of it. So I've already made the exact file right here as a GLS. So what I wanna do now is I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna say reverse sequence, and now I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna export this sequence, and I'm gonna call it the same thing, but I'm gonna put the words rev, like reverse, at the end. So I'm saving that. I already made it, but this is exactly the steps that I did. All right. And so now, again, I'm going to go back to where it was. This time, I'm going to say import that new file that I just made with rev at the end. I'm going to open it and check it out. Now it pasted it right after all of that. And the only thing that is probably going to be weird is that it will stop. It'll kind of like have a hesitation right here where we have two steps that are the same thing. So I'm going to just kill off one of those. And so now let me walk through what we are seeing here on the show mode. And then we're going to take it to the next level and we're going to compile everything and stick it on these taillights right here. So whatever files that are on this chip right now are about to go away, and we're going to have all this cool new stuff that we've been working on. All right, so first step is I am going to kill power to the show modes here. And then I'm going to plug this whole thing in to our Picket 3 programming tool. So it's this guy here. If I share my screen with you, or if I share the background, what I'm actually doing is I'm plugging in the Picket 3 programmer to the Ghost sequence module. All right, and the next step is that I've got my program open here. This is the program from microchip.com. Now I'm connected to it. This is the PIC24F32KA304 device. There's a huge list of devices in there. That's the setup that we need. So again, if you look on my screen, you've got this massive list of all of these crazy things that you can choose. The specific one that we're working with is the one that I have right here. All right, and so we're connected to it right now. It has 12 volts going to it, so that means that it already has power. We don't have to send power from the computer. If we wanted to, though, we could say power it from the device, which is a little checkbox right here. We're not going to do that. We're just going to keep it as is, and I'm going to look for the file that I'm about to create right now in our sequence designer. So I've got our cool show mode, I've got our turn signal, I've got our brake set up the way that I want, and one last thing to check is how long our brake timeout is, as well as that we even have brake selected as one of the things. So it says that brake is checked and it says timeout 10. That means 10 seconds in between when you step on the brakes and when it goes through this cool little animation. I'm going to drop that down to 3 right now, and then I'm going to compile this. It's going to default to the name that I had there in the setup name, call it standard 12 channel, and I'm just going to go ahead and save it, replace the one that exists in the system already. Now it's going to output as a new type of file called a hex file. The hex file is what we need for the other program that we had open. So we're going to browse for that hex file. We're going to find it right here in the same folder that all of our hex files are saved at. It's loaded up, and now we're going to program it. Now, if I don't have this thing plugged in properly, it's not going to be able to communicate with the sequencer. If I do have it held in place perfectly, then it should show up fine. It says programming complete. Now sometimes when you're plugging in this thing, it'll be at a weird angle and it won't come into good contact with it. You have to make sure that you've got it in good contact before you can do your programming. In this case, everything went fine. Now we actually just get to look right here using the remote control what our new files look like, everything that's on there. So we've got channel 1 is going to be for parking lights, channel 2 for brake lights, and then we've got 3 and 4 for show mode 1 and 2. So let's see what we got. This is going to be our new parking light. So basically what happened was it was already on. Let's turn it back on. All right, so parking light 1 is not programmed right. It's starting over every time. Let's see what our brake light looks like. I'm sorry, that's our turn signal. Wow, I totally messed up all of that stuff, guys. It was so bad. I gotta go back and redo it all. That sucks. I gotta find out what's up with that first. Later on, Jake. Have a good day, my man. Let's see. Let's look in our code here. Ah, I remember. Interesting. So I flipped it before I did all that. Oh, whoops. That was no good. I guess for the sake of, I'll just mention that I had to flip that. Make all the stuff again. The lives can show the screw ups. I want the thing that's showing people how to do things to at least work so that they're not confused. Which they still might be. All right. Let's reload that stupid thing. Feel the energy? It just zaps sometimes. How funny. The one where I don't show that it's not connected is the one where it doesn't do it. But I got a subscriber, so it's all okay. Try that again. Kind of too fast, I feel like. Okay. Dylan Weaver says, all of these animations are giving me a complete KIT vibe. Gotta love Kit. There was a pretty cool, about how many years ago? I want to say like 10 years ago, there was a Knight Rider show that came out, and I got to meet a lot of the people, and Mackay Pfeiffer and a bunch of the people that were on that. That was awesome. Okay, let's get back to the video. Okay, so programming went well. That's good. Let's check out our parking light. Now I did have to go back and flip this because it was reversed, but that shows us what it looks like. It's fanning onto the outside, fully bright, and then back to the inside in dim. And when I turn it off, it does the opposite of that. I think I can slow that down a bit. So if we look in our file, I had this set to, let's see, under park, have it set to speed 15. So as I'm going through and looking at these things, if I want to make changes, I can do it real time and adjust. So let's slow it down by half. So let's say we'll call it 30. All right, let's look at our brake light mode now. So if we're on brakes, I'm sorry, that is our turn signal. Our brake light I don't have hooked up, so I will have to show you by tapping a button. Okay, ready? So here is our brake light. Come on, it's like, what a dick. I'm trying to make a video here. Okay. So here's our brake light. It's just a simple little triple flash. If we hit the brake light again really quick, within 3 seconds, nothing happens. But if I count out for 3 seconds, I don't touch the brake light input again, then because we've selected 3 seconds on the brake light timeout, then it's gonna go back to the triple flash after. So if we want to increase or change anything in that, then we can hop back over to our screen. We can go over to where it says our brake light and it says timeout 3. If we want to make that happen faster, like let's say 1, which would be super annoying and I don't recommend you do that, but let's try it really quick. We can make that change there. So the next thing that I want to show you, it's actually pretty interesting. Let's hop over. I'm going to show you the turn signal, which if I hit button 2 here on my sequencer or on my little remote control, it's going to show me what it looks like as it's going through all of this stuff. Now, as you could tell at the beginning, it wasn't showing all of the LEDs. That's because in the time that it takes to get from the first to the last little bit of coding in our thing, it wasn't having enough time. But the sequencer is super smart and it knows that if it has to get through all of that in just that amount of time, then it's going to adjust its speed. So let's look at the code here really quick. And this is interesting. It shows that we've got 14 steps, right? And it shows that it has the speed set to 45. If I try to adjust this speed, it's not gonna let me. See how the speed bar is grayed out? But if I go over to like show mode here, see how the speed bar, the transition speed it's regularly shown. So if I add a bunch of these steps, I'm just gonna hit enter a ton of time. Look at what it's doing to speed. It's dropping the speed down to make it faster because it knows it has to get through every one of those steps in that time where you can hear that clicker. So hear that clicking? That's a flasher relay that I have set up over there on the bench that's it's gonna imitate what a car is gonna do, right? So you hear it clicking? In between those two clicks, it has to get all the way through all of these lines of code for the turn signal. So obviously it's, you know, if it's speed 14, it's got to get through all that. It's going to be insanely fast. It's barely even going to look sequential, and we don't want that. So I am going to delete these steps. And let's see, I deleted all the way up till 13 here. And again, what I had before was the same thing, but with channel 12 fully lit up. So I got 14 steps total. And that's what we're looking at right now, is this thing's going through all of its LEDs. All right, so the last thing that we made on this file is our show mode. So I have that wired up different. Okay, so the last thing that we have on here is the show mode. I want to show that to you really quick, and then we're going to dive back in, make a couple little changes to that, and then kind of wrap up this whole video showing you what all these steps look like once you've compiled it. You can go through all the steps that we've done to make show mode 1 to make a second show mode. So you can get crazy, you can get creative, go through the sequence designer, come up with anything that you want. You can even load some of the other sequence files that are in the library that come from Ghozt Lighting already in the sequence designer. Load that into your show modes and look at what they look like. I think we'll do that before we wrap the video. So let's dive back in, stay to the end if you want to see what that looks like. So we're going to say, actually, okay, so we're going to check out what that show mode that we've already created looks like. I'm going to turn off my parking light, not because I have to, but just to make it a little bit more dramatic. And here we go. It's doing the parking light on and off over and over again. And if I had the park light on before that, and then I turned it on, it's just kind of doing its thing. It might look interesting if we had one of those do that and then it like strobed back and forth. And so it was like doing this, right tail light, left tail light. It was just doing that. That might be an interesting thing. That's a little bit more advanced. We can get into that inside a squad. I think my guys can take these files that we made on this. I'm going to share the whole project file with everybody, and then they can take it and modify it, make some changes to it. So that's what's going to come up with at the end of the stream that I'm on right now. And then the squad, the group of people, can actually make those changes, make it all available to everybody. And between all of us working on this file, we're going to have some really amazing end result stuff for Randy. So let's jump back in. I'm going to make a couple changes here in the sequence designer. We got to see what all of our files looked like. So that was our turn signal. This was our brake light. This was our show mode. And then this was our parking light intro. So now show mode 2, we've got, I'm going to go ahead and kill that off. So this is what I want to do to show you what you can access inside of the sequence designer off the bat. I can come into here where it says sequence options. I can say import and append, just like we did with the other GLSs. But then wherever it is that you've loaded up the sequence designer on your machine, you're going to have a folder that already has a bunch of cool stuff in there. So I'm going to open that up, and that folder is called sequences. So look at, these are a bunch of sequences that are in mine. Some of these are things that I've made, some of them are things other people have made. And so one of them that's a very particular style that you see all the time on custom sequential lights is the fast builder. You see that one, it's like it's stacking everything up. So let's see if we got one for 20 channel on fast builder. I've got Searchlight, Night Rider. That's a big, like everybody's into that. 20 channel fast builder GLS. Well. Why? Second show mode. Okay, it's not letting me load that in for some reason. I don't like that. Wish it was. Let's see. What can we do, squad? What can we do to load this thing in? Tim says I've got to go in and add a channel to all my stuff that I made. Yet another challenge. I'm sorry, Tim. It's totally my fault, bro. I'm a bad, dumb man. All right. I'm trying to just import something here. So let's see. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to export this sequence from show mode 1. And I'm going to call it show 1. And then let's hop over to show 2. It seems like it doesn't want me to append anything in there. Import and append show 1. Let's go date modified. Come on, work, fool. Yeah, something's up where it does not want me to do that. And I don't understand why. Animated switchback. Really don't understand why it does not want me to do anything. I may have to figure this out later. That'll kind of suck. Import and append. GLS. Yeah, it does not like it. Second show mode. Turn signal. Startup animation. Speed 630. That. Let's try to do this. Huh. So for a startup animation, that worked fine. If we call it show 2, we delete all of that. Now what? This is some weird stuff, fellas. I'm going through and I'm confused balls. Import and append after current. It might have just been like a... Nah, man. Nah, man. It's not working. Independent brake turn. Animated switchback. Yeah, very weird. So let's try this. Let's try to trick it really quick. I'm going to say startup animation. I'm going to say import and append after current. Just going to choose this random something. Let's say fast builder. Let me load it as that, and now I'm going to change this to second show mode and then save it. Let's see if it takes those changes. That's pretty weird. I don't know why it would do that. I'm guessing kind of, to me, it almost seems like something's messing up, but we're working around it. Maybe if I can find an answer to this before I post this video, that will help out. All right, let's go back over here. File's been reloaded. That's nice. Let's load it, check it out, program it, call it a day. Wrap the stream, make the YouTube video. Oops. Sure, all our stuff's off. Program. Work. It's taking forever. Cool. Stomach is growling. Brain is failing. Oh, that was show mode 1. All right, here's fast builder. Yeah, so it's working. That's good. Not sure why we needed to do the workaround, but I do know that we've got a 20 channel sequence loaded to this right now, and it looks fine, but it could be better. It would specifically be better if it just didn't have all of the extra blank steps where it's like unloading right now, but there was nothing to unload. There's nothing stacked to unstack, if that makes sense. So there's some few changes that we can do to that existing 20 channel fast builder. I think we could absolutely get in and modify that. I think I'll stop with this. I'm going to load this GLS file up to Sequential Squad, and then everybody else can have their crack at it. They can make the changes to it. They can change that 20 channel fast builder, and we can make some changes to everything. So I'm not exactly sure why we had to go through what we did with changing it from a startup sequence to a second show mode. I want to investigate that. I'll update this video before I post it up right at the end. So if you want to know why, definitely stay to the end. Damn, that's gonna suck, dude. I've got an hour of freaking file. 53-minute video there that I'm gonna have to comb through, and I need to turn that into like, it's got to be like 15 minutes or so. It's gonna be crazy. So definitely that was not a fun thing to get stuck on. Gonzalo Barros, greetings from Argentina. What up, my dude? Wow, get some music happening again. That was a challenge. I haven't done that for a while. I used to do that. I do little bits and pieces of it when I was in the shop, and I'd be walking around and doing stuff. That was nuts. That was a tad bit much, I must say. Tim says, I have 10 and 12 channel GLC files. I just don't have any sequences made for them yet. Well, aren't you a gangsta? You made the GLCs just now, or what? Like with the three thing? Because we'll update this before I finish this video. I will say that I filmed it live. You guys, real time, made files, and we loaded them, and then it got to show them at the end what that all looked like. So, 24 people watching right now. Not mad at that. On a Saturday. Cheers, fellas. Sorry that got dry. Man, it's hard. It's so hard to not be dry. Damn, a couple days ago, the G. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing to think we could have this file, the GLC, that has 3 LEDs, you know, just like a little stack basically, for 1 through 28. That'd be dope. Jake says, cheers, teach. You know? Could you imagine if, like, this is what I almost wish that they would teach in school. Could you imagine if kids in school are sitting there, they're listening to their math teacher, they're listening to their English teacher, and as that teacher's going through and telling them stuff, that they also were just real, and they're like, I'm actually a person, I have struggles, I have hardship. I feel like most of the places that we go to learn, these people are like so detached and so far away from us that we can't even identify. And it's like, sure, Mr. Adams knows everything about algebra because he's, you know, the teacher of my Algebra 2 class. But like, I feel like I definitely do better when I have something that I see, like, that guy's struggling with that equation too. And here's the workaround, and here's how he figures it out to help him. I don't know, that's just my take on it. I like to show you guys, obviously, that I'm clearly not like the world's best at pretty much any of the stuff that I do. But at least if you get to see the gears turn, hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully you know that you can do it, because if I can do it, you can do it, right? That's the deal. So that was a hard one. I really don't like this turn signal at all. It's terrible. And you guys want some of these little lanyards? I had a bunch of them made. I'll post them up for sale on the site. Haven't been doing it for a while. Tim says, college professors that teach business management but have never managed a business. I'm saying, dude, that's the whole gig. Super annoying to me. Or what about the super sexy 21-year-old blonde busty life coach? I don't know about that life. Coach me. Teach me how to be hot 21 with big boobs. Teach me. Because, like, I'm sure that if I was that, you might have some dope suggestions. If not, I don't know. I don't know how great of a coach you're going to be. But you will be hot. Gotta love that. Hunter says, yeah, I'll take a lanyard. Sweet, man. Yeah, I'll post them up. We had a bunch of them made. You know, I had a cool little lobby, and guess what? It didn't do anything good for anybody. Crazy. She's had such a hard life. I know. And we can judge her all we want. Doesn't help anybody, right? But it is hard, though. It is definitely... It's really tough to take anything seriously when you're like, what do you know? What do you know? I'll tell you, if I'm teaching you about custom lighting and having a business doing that and working from home or working from a shop or working with influencers or, I don't know, like being afraid or being stoked and the ups and the downs, the yo-yos and all that, dude, I got days. That's why I can talk so much, because it's like I'm just telling you what I know. It's what I know. It's me. And I'm telling somebody who's just like me. So I'm talking to myself. Like, I can't see perfectly, but that lens, it's kind of distorting things, but I can see there's somebody in there. And that guy is me. And that's who I'm talking to. My demographic. I know I got some older guys, I know I got some younger guys, but I'm talking to Chris behind that camera. And if you can look in at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself, you can make videos, because you should be talking to you. And specifically on this subject about making the custom lighting videos and all that, maybe there's a guy that's really young out there that can talk to other young guys, but I know that most of the people that are doing this are not super young guys that are not willing to work hard. They're not a bunch of older guys that are like, that's a whole bunch of work for a little pay. I'm not interested in that. So you got your outliers for sure. But definitely know that the majority of us all are kind of in the same demographic. We're not chicks. We're not young. We're not old. We're just kind of this floating in the middle. My strongest demo is 18 to 34 or 35 or something. Or no, it's not 18. It's my strongest demo is 25 to 34, that chunk. And then I've got 18 to 25 in there as well, or 18 to whatever. And then I've got the group that's just past that, like 36 to 45. We're all in there. I also know that there's lots of guys that are outside of that. But those three ranges with the 25 to 34 is my strongest group. That's where my analytics show. That's most of us. So I can say it's probably where most of your viewers would be as well. So talk to that guy. That strongest is me, says Jake. Jake, you're what business people call my avatar. You're the guy that I'm talking to. I'm talking to Jake. So if I were to like write this thing out in like business sense, it would be like, he's the guy that I'm aiming all this content for, so that I can connect with Jake, right? That's just stuff that I learned. I don't know. Mr. Romofdo. I know I didn't say that. FDO's clearly not FDO, but you just say it. That's what you get. I got a triple thumbs up. Cheers, sir. What are you guys gonna do today? Comment where you're watching from, all 19 of you concurrent viewers. Hit the like button for me. I got 13 likes. 13 likes, and how long are we in? An hour and a half? I sucked this one, huh? I didn't earn any more likes than that. Indiana, Texas. Where you at, Doe? Where you watching from, bro? I know we've got South Carolina. I know we've got, man, I'm gonna know by heart all of your guys' locations because you've all said it so many times. Jake Garforce II says already hit that like button. First one, Adam's in Dallas. Jake's in Minnesota. Darren Ottman is in Daytona Beach. Got it. You guys are my strongest dudes ever. Michael M has been lurking from Australia. What up, Michael M? Hunter's in Houston. Tim says he's gonna fix his S13 taillight files. You're just a freaking gangster, aka a gentleman and a scholar. You're appreciated, Tim. And when Tim gets his cool brake light module, my expectations are set publicly. The expectations are you're gonna make a video, and I want you, even if you don't share it with anybody else, I want you to make a file, and I won't share it with anybody else too. Teach me how to use that brake light module. I want to see your take on my thing that I've already created a how-to, because I want to redo my how-to, and I want to watch you teach a how-to to program that thing with what you learn from the free brake light, like how to program it, little course thing that I put together. I want to see you teach. Teach the teacher, Tim. Do it. Jake says he's working on a file now. Very good, man. Guys, this was cool. I really like that. Tim says he's gonna watch my video on how to use it. Cool. I need to make a really good, concise, clean one. It's a dry teaching. It's hard. It's a weird thing. Tim says he's already in that course. That's dope. Very cool. Well, I'm gonna share this with Randy. I'm gonna tell him that we've got some cool stuff. I will share a snippet of it because this is an hour and a half, 90 minutes of me fumbling through making a YouTube video, which when you watch it at the end, especially you guys that have been here watching all of this, it's definitely going to be I don't know, it'll be funny because you'll be like, man, he made himself look all smart. Yeah, that's the magic of YouTube. Just cut out all the stutters, all the screw ups, all of the everything, and you just give them that. In the shorter amount of files, if you're shooting stuff for yourself and you really want to do a good job with it. Say things in little chunks so that if you screw up the long thing that you're trying to get across, you don't have to deliver 24 lines of information clean. Just take 24 takes. So like, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. Stop. Start the next part. Okay, so we're going to do this and that, blah, blah, blah. Stop. Do the next thing. And if you mess up, you only have to say the one little chunk. I want you guys to learn this stuff. I want you guys to do TikTok. Do it all. Get better, grow. Hunter, I will make you a solder video for sure. That would probably be a great video. There's some really cool stuff that I can target on YouTube specifically about soldering, and I can do it with my thoughts, and it's going to be a polarizing video. It's going to be, don't do this, even though what I'm saying not to do is the right way, because I'm going to be telling people not to do the things if they're a headlight builder, that a guy that's going to tell you how to ideally do the thing every single time over and over. It's going to piss people off. It's going to make people comment. I'm looking forward to it. Should be awesome. Tim says, you know what though? It tells you who has watched your lessons in your courses. Oh, you know that though. Yeah, it does. I do know. I'm watching. Like Big Brother. I see the things you do. I see what you click on. I'm gonna send you an email if you don't click. I know. Got the analytics to tell me. Michael M says, a lot of people still don't know about solder wick. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I've got a whole bottle of flux over there. I don't really use it most of the time. Most of the information about how to do things are blanket statement generalizations about all of soldering. You could solder all kinds of stuff for different purposes. Some guys freak out and they start, and I was like, ooh, you're watching? But a lot of people, they're gonna tell you how to do something the right way for everything. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not true. Because if I'm gonna be putting some lights together and I've got 87 solder points inside of those lights, then, you know, it's gonna be unnecessary that I take the extra amount of time. Because let's say to solder something my way, you put the two wires together, you twist them, you solder them, you slide the heat shrink over, boom, you've got a dope pro solder point. But somebody else is gonna be like, no, that's not how you do it. The first thing is you strip each wire, and then you don't twist them, but you coat them with flux, and then you put them, you solder to them, and then after that, then you put them in a vise, and you bring them together, and then you solder it, and then you heat. Like, screw all that noise, man. That took forever. I gotta do that 87 times. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put those little bastards, twist them, solder, heat shrink, done. Next one. Do it, over and over. And then 87 times of that later, I've burned through an hour and a half, right? Or something. Doing it your way, I'll be here until Christmas doing it. Stupid. So sometimes smart is stupid. And then there's other times where if you do it the way that I'm telling you to, because of the application, that it's not going to be good, and then it can come undone, and it needs to have the extra strength and blah, blah, blah. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about inside a headlight where it's never going to get any action. So think about who you're listening to and why they're saying it the way that they are, right? So Hunter, I'll totally do that to you sooner than later. You got it. Michael M says, Hunter, it's to clean the tip and cool it some. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of little stuff on here. I will tell you this, most of the stuff that people are going to tell you to teach, or they're going to tell you how to do it, in so many cases, they're doing it to make themselves look smart, not because it's going to help you. If they're focused on you and what you actually get out of it, those are the people that you should be listening to. I try to be that guy as best I can. I talk too much though. Michael M says, that's the right way. Twist, solder, shrink, but make sure you put the shrink wrap on first. Yeah, man, that's words of wisdom. So many times I'm like, dope, I'm all ready to go. I've got all these 28 things, and now I got to slide the heat shrink over, and I look and I'm like, oh crap, 3 of those I soldered, but I didn't slide the heat shrink tube down on before. And I'm like, crap, now I'm soldering, undoing it, the wire's getting messed up. It's just, bleh. That'll be a good video. If you have any comments, comment on inside of the Facebook group things that you would like to see, Hunter. And if anybody else has anything else specific for that solder video, we'll put it in there as well. I'll go through all those points, and I will make sure I hit all of those in the video. Okay? You guys all have a wonderful Saturday. Thanks for hanging out for so long. It'll be dope. Michael M, are you in the Facebook group? Because if you're not, you should get in there. Do it. And Adam says, yes, shake my head. Nice. Tim says there's also a video suggestion area in Discord. There is. It's probably the better place to put it, to be honest with you. But I know a lot of people are just not in there. And Adam just got yelled at from the robot. It said refrain from using all caps. Adam. Streamlabs yelled at you. Sweet. Everybody, be good. Help each other out. We'll talk more. Acoustic guitar in the background sounds kind of weird to end this. See you tomorrow. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's where I'm going to be. See ya.